ये बड़ी भारी जिम्मेवारी आपने दी है। मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं उसको सफलतापूर्वक निभा सकूं। There are two, there are two main things
Sir,
which you must notice.
yes.
Two innovative things which have taken place ever since Haryana came into being as a state until date. First of all, viewers may note that there was no interview for the first two batches of Haryana. The first batch was one by which my sister Justice Kiran Nandlal came in, and second batch was mine. We were blessed with success only on the basis of the written examination. The second aspect which deserves notice is that we had all along English as the court language. But now the government of Haryana have issued a notification declaring the language that is Hindi to be the court language. The notification has not been implemented immediately. Obviously, arrangements are being made to prepare officials for the changeover. The third thing viewers may please note is that initially when Haryana came into being, as I told you, the first batch saw only one female candidate, that's my sister, who was inducted into the judicial services. At that point of time, and even thereafter, the number of female judicial officers was minimal and in any case not large. Yet another thing which I would like to share with you is that there were no facilities, infrastructural and manpower wise, when Haryana came into being. The facilities available were to the barest minimum. At times, there was not even a stenographer provided to all the judicial officers. There was dearth of stenographers, and the allotment thereof came only to the senior judicial officers. Over a period of time, and in particular, God bless the apex court, which pronounced the judgment in All India Judges Association case. The implementation of that judgment has blessed the judiciary with all the facilities, manpower, infrastructural, and pay and perks. I get back to the uh, induction of the female judicial officers and otherwise into the judicial service. The first batch, as I said, saw my sister get into the judicial services. Second batch was mine, which did not have a judicial officer inductee. Thereafter, Justice Anita Chaudhary, she got in as a judicial officer. There was a gap. Then we had a special recruitment wherein 34 officers came in. That was a special batch wherein the induction was based only on the interview. There was no written test held therefore. Navita Singh, Sneh Prashar and Raj Rahul Garg, they were the three inductees of that batch. All of them adorned the bench of the Honorable High Court thereafter. Insofar as the direct recruitment is concerned, the first to get in was Justice Nirmal Yadav. She was an Assistant Advocate General at the time she applied for appointment, and she was also the first Registrar General of the High Court. There is no written test held therefore. There was a procedure of induction of lawyer magistrates into the executive. At the time the bifurcation between executive and judiciary took place, there were a number of officers who decided to come over to judiciary from executive. That they had to forego their seniority is to state the obvious. Those people who came from executive to judiciary included my father and Sarashri O.P. Gupta, T.P. Garg, I.P. Vashisht and Hari Ram. Out of them, Mr. T.B. Garg and Mr. I.P. Vashist rose to the High Court bench, while Mr. O.P. Gupta and Mr. Harinam, they retired as district judges. Haryana also saw the emergence of people who came from PEPSU. Two names come to my mind: Mr. S.R. Seth and Mr. S.C. Goel. They came from the PEPSU cadre. If I remember correctly, Mr. S.R. Seth was not a graduate in law, but that was the eligibility condition prevalent in PEPSU. Both of them made their mark as judicial officers. I have just mentioned that fact only on point of fact. You see, the journey of life is beset with large many vicissitudes, and the same applies to the journey of a department of an institution. Judiciary is an institution of constitutional importance. It is not for nothing that Dr. Kapoor has been undertaking this journey to familiarize the current generation with the various constitutional provisions. It is not the intention of the author to give out that the new lawyers or the new judicial officer would not have read the constitution, but his idea is to stress upon the need for being familiar with the ambits of the constitution. I, for one, I have been through as many as 39 constitutions of the world. Each constitution provides for an independent judiciary. I would not venture comparing our judiciary with those countries. All that I would say is that our judiciary, our infrastructure of justicing has over a period of time come to occupy an exalted place in the community of nations. You can judge it for yourself when you find that there has hardly been any time when the Indian judiciary did not have a representative on the bench of the International Court of Justice. To state the obvious, the International Court of Justice deals with the inter-nation disputes, while the Apex Court deals with the intra-nation disputes. You will have to agree with me that our judiciary has acquitted itself very creditably in the manner of enforcement and reiteration of the fundamental rights of citizens. The integrity quotient of our institutions has been exceptionally high. We would leave out the minor aberrations in that process. If we had ADM Jabalpur's case, yes, it was revised, it was reviewed in another judgment almost after 4 decades. And credit goes to our institution, which reiterated that even during the time there is promulgation of emergency, the fundamental rights of a detainee do not cease to function. Yes, there would be certain restrictions on the movement of the detainee. That apart, the fundamental rights do not cease to be available to that person. The environmental laws, which virtually came into being on the insistence and repeated nodding from the Apex Court, have done great wonders for our country. The CNG revolution and the like have improved the pollution a lot. Yes, we are not very happy when we find that the Yamuna has been polluted again. The pollution has come about due to the pouring of the industrial waste and the like things. That is for us to think over. We must appreciate that our system of justicing is foolproof in nature. It's a 3-tier system. On the initial side, the courts are civil judges. The second appellate court, that's the High Court, which is also the Revisional Court, and then the Apex Court. In the apex court, we have SLPs, then we have review, then we have curative jurisdiction. On account of a judicial pronouncement which said that even if we have finalized the view in SLP and affirmed it in review, we are willing to reconsider the matter in curative jurisdiction. The idea is that a wrong must not be perpetuated. Yes, if all along the view is reiterated, we must rest content with the feeling that the final view is the correct view. My dear friends, you have opted to join law, study law, either practice as advocates or join the services as judicial officers or as public prosecutors or the like, law officers in various institutions. It is the destiny which has chosen you to be in the system of justicing. I am very frequently accused of being obsessed with the idea of justicing. Remember, this feeling of justicing starts from the family itself. Even in the course of the intra-family dealings, we must have an attitude of justicing, which is to deal with all members of families, seniors and children alike, in a non-arbitrary, unbiased manner. These are God-given opportunities. You are the blessed lot that the Almighty has made you. In whatever capacity you serve the law, God has made you the projectors and protectors of the rights of citizens, the fundamental rights of citizens. I remember having read an article by legal eagle Sohili Sorabji. In the course of that article, in the print media a few years ago, the author said, even as lawyers, you perform a religious duty when you enable a needy litigant get his right. It's a very meaningful statement. Let's not treat it only as a profession. I would take this opportunity to appeal to those who opt to join the bar fraternity. You are free like other citizens to follow any religion, to follow any point of view, to follow any political party. But please stay united as members of bar. There were times during the pre-partition days and even post-partition days when for a social cause, the bar would rise as a unit. Personal affiliations, be it on the political front or the religious front, would not come in. Please advocate a social cause as an institution. Bar is a great institution which had great legal luminaries. They might have made their contribution in the other fields also. But first of all, members of bar, and they had imbibed the attitude of justicing. My earnest appeal to you is, please follow the principles of justicing, which are quite obvious in every walk of life. The posterity will bless you. The posterity will certainly bless you, and you would have made the country a very comfortable place to live in. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much. But we are very, very greedy that you shall continue sharing insight of the growth of the judiciary in Haryana particular. We want to make your and yourself as a case study. So you must express yourself fully, completely, so that everything goes transparent and fully available for the coming generations. When the history of judiciary of Haryana will be written, they will always have your life journey of justicing as a index value. Again tomorrow, again on Monday, we will be waiting for these words of wisdom and experience.
I'm honored indeed. I'm honored. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.